はい、ということで、シャーロックホームズ、続いては、最終章ですかね。おそらく、人物。ぽいですよね、これ、漢字。かなぽいよね。まだ、どうなんだなんか色の濃さ的に。いや、ぽいよね。ぽいよね。で、手紙、前回ね、ちょっと、途中でね、強制終了しちゃったので、なっちゃったので、ホームズさん、恐ろしい事件の真相を明らかにしていただいたあなたに感謝をさせていただきたく、お手紙を差し上げております。最初はあれほど優秀で美しいマーガレット・ホワイト女王が同僚だったヘイミッシュと共に、あのような凄惨な殺人を計画することができるのか、僕には想像すらできませんでした。僕は怒りに震えました。しかし、彼女の立場に立ってみて、僕にも彼女の置かれた状況を理解することができるようになりました。すごいね。ホワイト女王のように才能があり、美しい女性でも、お金がなければ学問も習得することができなかった。でももうちょい下にずらして書いた方が良かったかもしれない。その間、僕の父は、情にかけ、裕福に生活していた。彼女に対して寛大な配慮をしていただき、ありがとうございました。彼女はもうここにはいません。それを寂しく思います。ケイフ、アルバート・ダン。はいはいはい。で、で、今回はハーフムーン通りの事件を解決する。ハーフムーン通りの犯行現場を調べて、目撃者の話を聞く。スコットランドヤードでレイトンに質問して、彼の所持品も調べてみるということで。ウィギンズの、少年の子ね。ウィギンズのお兄さんがね、家族問題でホームズの援助を求めた彼の兄、レイトン、そうですね。が警察に逮捕されたと。二人を殺害した罪に囚われてしまったということで。続きやっていきたいと思います。どっちハーフムーンド、まず、現場を見に行きましょうか、じゃあ。さあ、来ましたね。暗いね。あ、こっち外行く。はいはいはい。で、こっちですかね。なんか調べたりできるものはなさそうかな。あ、ここですか。犯行現場とやらは。
Please, gentlemen, leave the scene now. Oh, Mr. Holmes, is that you?
そうです。
Good evening, Constable
Marrow.
マロー
I
巡
was here
査。
with Inspector Aberline during the Ripper case.
切り裂きジャックの件でアバーライン警部と一緒でした。
But then this is
切り裂
nothing
き、
like that
切り
case.
裂き
With this one, we've got the
切り
murderer,
裂き
the
ジャッ
weapon,
ク
and
の
the statements
事件をちょっ
which
と
speak for
やってみたい
themselves.
な。あったのかな
Of course,
前作とか
but
で。
you know that appearances can sometimes be deceiving.
はい。じゃあ被害者について。
Who were the victims?
The two men here
二
both
人
shot.
両方とも射殺されている。
A well-known ruffian.
太った方がブライアン・ブーコッティ。有名な悪党、ケネス・バトラー。目撃者。
You spoke of statements. You have witnesses?
Well, I was there, so I gave my own statement. And then there were two other witnesses who said they saw
チャッ
the
プマンを
killer
目撃したという、
Mr.
なるほど。
Turner, a gentleman who lives in
ターナーさんという男
over
性。
there. And Polly Powell,
おー、
a flower seller who was over at the far side of the street.
ポリー・パウエル。なるほどね。証言。
So, Constable Marrow, I should be delighted to hear your testimony.
ぜひとも聞い
I
てみ
was
たい。
standing at the north side of Half Moon Street.
ハーフムーン通りの
That
北
was the
側。
side that you came from.
我々が
You
来た
would
方
have
ね
been。unable to observe this part of the street where we are standing now.
That is correct. But I saw the two victims slowly enter Half Moon Street, and then shortly after, the fireworks started.
花
A
見
few
が始まっ
minutes
た。
after that, the fellow Chapman rushed towards me and ran into Half Moon Street.
チャップマンが、
Please
なるほど。
continue.
I didn't pay attention, but suddenly I heard a woman's cries and police whistles on the other side of Half Moon
警
Street.
察の笛が聞こえ
I
た。
rushed over there and I saw the two dead bodies on the ground. When I reached Whitechapel Street, I saw Leighton Chapman. He'd been caught by two police constables.
おー、なるほどね。銃声。
Did you hear the shots?
I didn't hear any shots. The fireworks were all over the sky. They were so loud I couldn't hear anything else.
花火の爆破の時に銃を放った可能性があるという。
What were the fireworks in honor of, Constable?
何の花火か。
Today's Queen
ビクトリア
Victoria's
女王
birthday,
誕
Mr.
生祭。
Yes, I appear to have lost track of the days. It is May now, of course.
なるほど、5月。ハーフムーン通りの詳細。
Constable Marrow,
マロ
what
巡
else
査。
caught your attention while you were
ハーフムーン
running
通り
through
走っていて、
Half Moon
他に何か気づかなかった
I
か。
saw nothing but rats, and I took the time to light every corner with my lamp.
なるほど。ターナー氏の窓。
Did you happen to look up at Mr. Turner's window when you were on Half Moon Street at that time?
Yes, I saw that the window was open, but no one was there. It was dark in
部
the
屋
room.
は真っ暗。
Constable, your statements have been of great value to me.
グレートバリュー。そうですね。この人がケネス・バトラーでブライアン・バーコッティか。この人ね。お、棒。
A fairly long pole.
二股になっているかなり長めの棒。
A fair...
何か使うみたいですね。じゃあ、遺体、なんかいるね。まず遺体の方調べていきますか。ケネス・バトラーさん、頭を抜かれてるね。おや。地面。物が挟まっている。木のかけら。
A piece of wood that has stuck
地
between
面
the
の
cobblestones.
布石の間に
Let us take a closer
木のかけら
look.
が挟まっている。なんだろう、これは。木のかけら。
This shard of
この
wood
木の
is
破片は
quite new.
新しい。何のかけらだろうね。左のポケット。鍵。
This is an ordinary key. I wonder what kind of door it
どこの鍵が開くのだろう。そして頭か。頭の傷。
The bullet struck his head.
弾丸が頭に
This
命
man
中してい
didn't
る。
stand a chance.
これだけか。じゃあ、ブライアン・バーコッティ。この人は、腹を撃たれてるのかな。手。
He tried to stop
傷
the
口を手で
bleeding
押さえ
with
て
his hand.
出血を塞ごうとしたのだ。
Was not in
彼は即死ではなかった。なるほど。傷口。弾丸は彼の腹部を貫通してい
a
る。
dreadful wound.
恐ろしい傷だ。頭。
Brian
Brian
Vercotti
Vercotti.
suffered greatly. What a terrible
む
way
ごい
to
死
die.
に方だ。苦しんで死んだようですね。手。おい、入れ墨がある。
A tattoo from Westgate Prison.
ウェストゲート監獄の入れ墨。なるほどね。元囚人として、入れ墨があったということね。一瞬これのかけらかなとか思ったけど、
A fairly
関係なさそうだね。ライアン・ターナーさん。
good evening, Mr.
ターナーさん、
Turner.
こんばんは。
I heard Constable Marrow reply to you as Mr. Holmes. Are you that detective gentleman? I've heard of you. And well, I know things. Things about this evening.
あ、見たらしいね。
Excellent. Might we hear your story?
話を聞かせてもらおうか。証言。
Could you tell us everything that you may have seen or heard?
I was already in bed when the fireworks started. A few moments after, I clearly heard two gunshots
花
from
火始まる前に
outside.
銃声が聞こえ
Please
た。
continue.
I quickly got up and I grabbed the lamp from my nightstand and I rushed towards the
ランプ
window.
を取って窓の方に向か
I
った。
looked down and I saw two bodies. And there was a man with a gun who was standing nearby.
Where exactly?
Well, near this body.
Did he notice you?
I don't think so. He rushed towards Whitechapel Street without looking around.
ワイトチャペルの方に走っていった。他の人物。
Mr. Turner, did you see anyone else in the street?
No, I saw no one but that man, the murderer, the fellow they caught.
2発の独特の銃声。
Were the two shots you heard consecutive?
Yes, there was a very short pause between them, and they sounded different somehow. It seemed to me that the second shot was louder than the first.
That is an interesting comment.
銃声聞こえてないんだよね、警察巡査の方は。逃走の後。
Mr. Turner, what were your actions after you stepped up to the window?
I was afraid that the man with a gun might return, so I stayed close to the window till I saw the policeman coming in the half moon from Whitechapel. Then I walked out to tell them everything I saw.
なるほどね。まだ何も分かってこないけども、顔は何もないんだね。バッチ。勲章の留め金。クリミア戦争。あ、退役軍人ね。支えが必要。弱い足。ビッコを引いている。はいはいはい。で、ボタンが取れている。貧しい生活。ほー。
You have helped us a great deal, Mr. Turner.
ありがとうございました。次、もう一人、おばちゃんの方ですね。花屋の話を伺いましょうか。ホリー・パウエル。
Mrs. Powell?
パウエルさん。
What do you want?
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting the police with their investigation of the crime that took place this evening.
Well, I've already gave my testimony, but very well.
証言について。
Could you tell us everything that you may have seen or heard?
Yes, yes. I was selling my flowers as usual, and then the fireworks began in honour of Queen Victoria. I enjoyed those. But then, all of a sudden, a young lad ran out of Half Moon Street and stopped just by me. He had a gun in his hand.
若い子が銃を持
He
ってい
was
た。
like a ghost, and all covered in blood. It was dark, but I could see him because of the flashes from the fireworks.
ほー。
And then?
I screamed as loud as I could. I knew that a policeman should be on duty in the vicinity. He had no time to escape. 2 constables got him. Then another constable came out from the very same street, and I heard him talking of a horrible murder.
なるほどね。銃声について。
Mrs. Powell, did you hear the gunshots?
I'm not sure. You know, what with the fireworks?
銃声聞いてるのはあの人だけだな。ターナーさん。他の人物。
Did you see anyone else leaving Half Moon Street prior to or at the time of the crime?
No, sir, I did not. Even with all the fireworks, I was very attentive, as I'm always on the lookout for customers.
My thanks to you, Mrs. Powell.
ありがとう。ライアン・ターナーは60歳くらいの男性、クリミア戦争の退役軍人で、本人はこのことをとても誇りに思っている。戦争で足を負傷したと思われ、いつも密航を引いて歩いている。ターナー氏は貧しい生活を送っているという。鏡。
This mirror is turned towards Half Moon Street.
そうだね。まあでも、こっから分かることもないしな。こっから先は行けないよね。ってことは、こっちも、そうなっちゃうかな。なっちゃうね。じゃあ、スコットランドヤード。行ってみましょうか。
Mr. Holmes,
ホームズさん。
whatever brings you
こ
here
んな
so
に
late
夜
at
遅くに
night?
どうされてるんですか？
I'm interested in the case of young Leighton Chapman. He was arrested earlier this evening and accused of a double murder.
I beg your pardon? That case is quite clear to the police. Or are there any new facts that we don't know about?
Who knows, Inspector?
Look, you are free to investigate, of course, Mr. Holmes. Chapman was arrested with a revolver in his possession, which you can find in the evidence room. The suspect himself is in custody.
Did you find anything else on his person?
A few personal belongings. Nothing particular, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, Lestrade.
ありがとう、レストレード警部。さて、じゃあ、所持品見てみましょうか。銃ね、弾は減ってんのかね。巻きタバ
These
コ。
cigarettes are filled with cheap tobacco. Nothing interesting.
興味を引くところはない。で、リンゴ
A
時計
cheap watch, bought with his own money, no doubt.
で、レイ
So
トの
this is the gun
拳
that
銃。
Leighton was holding when he was caught by the police. It is a
エブリ
Webley
自動回
revolver,
転式
a
拳銃。
reliable weapon.
弾倉。
Seems as though the
薬莢が
shells were
回転
not
弾倉から
removed
取り除かれてい
from the
ないようだ。 あ、撃ってるね、でも。
It seems
あれ、でも、あるわ。重心。2発撃ってる。
2 out of the 6 shells have been fired. There were 2 shots.
撃ったのは間違いないと、この銃で。じゃあ話を聞いてみましょうか。レイトン・チャップマン。
Please escort this suspect. Good evening, Mr. Chapman.
こんばん
Who
は。
are you? I've got nothing to say. It's all a mistake.
Calm down, Leighton. I have come here to help you. To find out if you truly are innocent, as your younger brother Wiggins has told me.
My brother. You know him. Then that means you're...
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, blimey. All right, Mr. Holmes. I'll tell you everything.
全部話してくれ。君の話。
Good. Tell me your account of what happened.
何があったんだ。
I left my work.
仕事を終えて、急いでホワイトチャペルの花火を見に行った。
I was late, so I decided to cut through
遅れていたので
Half Moon
ハーフムーン通りをよく
I
切った。
saw
な
the
る
first
ほど。
fireworks light up in the sky.
最初の花火を上がるのを見た。
I bumped into a constable on a corner before entering Half Moon. Then suddenly, what with all the firework flare, I saw two
花火の
men.
中で二人の男を見た。
They were both
一度真ん
lying
中で
flat
倒
in
れ
the
てい
middle
た
of。the street.
そこで立ち止まってしまった。
I thought about turning
警
back
察
to
に
the
知らせに
police,
行こう
but
かと考えていたら、そこ
as I
に
was
三
thinking
人目
that,
の
I
男
saw
を
a
見た
third。person. He was leaning over the body that was furthest from me. The second I
下
saw
に
him,
鏡込んでいた。
he raised his head and he stared at me. In a flash, I saw his gun, but he made a dash for it instead and he escaped through Whitechapel Street.
ホワイトチャペルの方に逃げていった。なるほど。戻る
So
時
you
間。
might still have had time to return to the constable.
I panicked. I didn't know what to do. Anyway, I approached the bodies just to see if they were still alive. I saw that one had blood pumping out of his stomach. He was dying. It was horrible. The second one was already dead. A hole in his head.
そ
He
う
was
だね。
holding a gun in his hand though. I took it. And then I followed the third man.
なるほど。どうか続けて。
Interesting. Pray continue.
I turned a corner and I saw the man standing in the middle of the street. He seemed to be in some sort of panic.
ほ
And
う。
then, Mr. Holmes, something strange happened. I told the police and they laughed at what I said, but I swear to you, my words are true. I started running towards him. But then I was blinded by a flash. It was so bright that I hardly saw anything for a good dozen seconds. But I kept running forward. As I arrived in Whitechapel, I heard a woman screaming. And then I was caught by the police.
なるほ
But there
ど。
wasn't a trace of that man. Of course, then they found a gun and all that blood. I couldn't see the murderer escaping and all that mess. Perhaps I was still half blinded at that moment.
A thrilling account, my young
う
man.
ん、なるほどね。まあ、建物の中に入った可能性もあるしね。あり得る話だ。三人目の男。
Leighton, are you able to describe the person whom you saw standing in Half Moon Street?
Well, I wasn't able to see his face at all. It was
顔は
too
見えなかっ
dark,
たが、
and he was too far away.
影は見た。
I could see his silhouette.
And what about that?
どんなんやった
Nothing so special. He was wearing a jacket. He was
上
quite
着を着て
average
いた。
in his
背
size
丈も
and his
体重も
weight.
普
I
通。
see. Was there anything else that struck you at the time?
No. But perhaps it's strange, but I can't remember the sound of his
足音
footsteps
が
as he
聞
was
こえなか
running
った。
away. Perhaps it was because of the fireworks or the surprise of me seeing him.
あそこであいつに会うんだって。はいはいはい。なるほどね。さあ、どうなっていくのか。深い傷だと。時々喧嘩をする。路上育ち。喧嘩の後か。殴られた後みたいなのがあるね。つい最近殴られた後、逮捕に反抗した。向こう見ず。なるほど。殴られたのか。警察に。都心の服装、楽な仕事、事務員。ほー。タトゥー。犯罪を犯した。で、なぜ後を追ったのか。
Leighton, I confess I am puzzled. Why should a young lad like you take a gun from the hands of a dead man and set off in pursuit of a probable killer?
I know. I keep wondering that, but at the time it was like a reflex. A criminal ought to be arrested, and he was armed.
You were willing to risk your life. That was a little foolish, unless you wanted revenge.
No, Mr. Holmes. I was just being brave and stupid.
勇敢に立ち向かっただけ。お、これはなんだ？何か別の意図があるっていうことを指すには？
I'm sure that you were, but I believe that you may have recognized one of the victims, Brian Vercotti. You knew that gentleman well, did you not?
However could you know that?
その入れ墨だ
You have a
よ
typical。tattoo of the Westgate Brotherhood upon your hand. I observed exactly the same mark upon Mr. Vercotti. You came to know him from your sharing a past prison sentence. Am I correct, Mr. Chapman?
God. You're right, Mr. Holmes.
そのブライアン・バーコッティが殺されたことで
Would you tell me a little about Brian
追いかけたとい
Vercotti?
うことか。
We were convicted for a robbery. Once in prison, both of us
強
joined
盗で
one
有
of
罪
his
判決。
fraternities.
なるほどね。
During that year, we tried to help each other out, you know?
You were quite young then, I believe.
Yes, Mr. Holmes, we were. We'd only stolen a pound of meat. After we were released and when I saw what my little brother had become, I decided to work towards living an honest life.
And Vercotti?
He had a hard time. His sister had died in a Whitechapel dispensary while he was in prison. He had no family anymore. Our paths split. He fell back into
犯
crime.
罪に逆戻り。
So you lost him.
Yes. And for around 2 years, I heard no news of him at all.
ほう。
We
そういう
shall
こと
see you
か。
soon, young man.
となると、こっから推理一旦入るか？異なる銃声。ターナー氏は2つの異なる銃声を聞いていた。2度目の銃声は最初より大きかった。花火と聞き間違えてとかそんなんじゃないよね。お。射撃位置。銃はそれぞれハーフムーン通りの全く違う場所から発砲された。それがターナーには2つの異なる銃声音として聞こえた。実際は3発発砲されたが、ターナーには2つの異なる銃声音として聞こえた。最初に1発発砲され、その後すぐに2発の銃弾がほぼ同時に発射された。はあ。そんな可能性ある？ハーフムーン通りで起きた発砲は、ケネス・バトラーとブライアン・バーコッティが互いに発砲して、弾丸が交差した相打ちの可能性がある。遺体を調べ再現してみる。なるほどね。あ、そういうことか。行ってみましょうか。